got nothing to lose.
It's win or go home.
Don't really care about what people got to say.
I'm full go.
I want Tom Brady. I want every quarterback I play against.
Look out. Hello, Chase Young.
Be ready. Be an open target.
It is caught. Touchdown, Rams.
I've made a decision about being the best I can be this week so we can go win this game so we can keep playing.
We know everybody's overlooking us.
Montgomery, he is in for the touchdown.
This is the postseason where every team wants it just as bad as the next team.
Now it's a matter of us going out and doing our job, playing to the best of our ability.
These are big moments.
It's going to be aggressive. It's going to be physical.
Should be a fun game.
Welcome to the Around the NFL broadcast presented by Truist. My name is Dan Hansis. I'm joined in a virtual room filled with some heroes. Greg Rosenthal, Mark Sessler. Boys, we finally made it. Super wild card weekend is here.
It's say goodbye to your family, get in front of the TV, watch us, watch the games, get ready.
Yeah, this blockbuster schedule ensures that I'll be doing no chores around the house, engaging with nobody inside my house, just eyes on screen, please.
And if you don't know who we are the Bozos from the Around the NFL podcast. There's some really context clues that I hope you would have put together on that front. And we have a podcast 3 times a week, including our Sunday night flagship show where we break down all the action. So make sure you check that out wherever you get your podcasts. On today's show, on the big network, we're going to talk about all of the wild card action to come. What are you guys the most excited about for this weekend, Greg?
I love Lamar Jackson getting back into the playoffs. We weren't sure it was going to happen. I've been waiting 51 weeks for this. I know Ravens fans have. Lamar has. The way that he's run the ball is obvious. It's why he's like the most exciting player, I think, to enter the league in a long time, and he won the MVP. But the way he's thrown the ball the last few weeks has me ready for this Titans game. Here's a throw he made last week to Marquise Brown that Brown didn't come
catch
up.
The ball.
Come on, Marquise Brown. Yeah, let's get it going. This is the touchdown throw he had a little later to Boykin. That has me more confident that Lamar Jackson can take advantage of this Titans defense. And to me, he's a star. He's like Mahomes. He got the MVP. The season after that, not as good in the regular season, but comes into the playoff hot. Can he get a playoff run like Patrick Mahomes did a year ago, and quiet down ghouls like you, Dan, who are just ready to honk, if Lamar struggles in the playoffs? No,
I mean, listen, Lamar apologists, you're acting like him and Mahomes are on even footing entering last season. Mahomes died for this game as well. Ravens, Titans, unbelievable matchup there. I think it has a possibility of being an instant classic in the wild card round, and I think it's going to be because points are going to be scored like mad in this game. I can't wait to see, because the Titans aren't going to be able to stop anybody. We know that because they've given up at least 30 points in half their games. Gave up 40 against the Packers in Week 16, their last high-impact matchup. And you have Derrick Henry, you have Ryan Tannehill, you have A.J. Brown, Corey Davis. This is going to be an avalanche. And like you said, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, outrageous what they're doing on offense during their 5-game winning streak. This has 40-37 in overtime written all over it, boys.
Yeah, you think about last year at this time, Mark Andrews was not feeling well. Mark Ingram was not healthy. This time around, the Ravens are ready to go. And so I'm with you. This is a big one.
Are you feeling well, Mark?
Yeah, what's up, Mark?
Okay? I'm barely hanging in there. If you could see what's happening off screen, you'd understand. So.
What are you excited about, Mark, other than surviving this show?
Well, I feel like my healthy state is about the same as the Browns right now. There's been a lot going on. Ooh. I want to see Cleveland silence these doubters. Sorry, this Browns team, they've been through so much this week, and you have Juju Smith-Schuster in a press conference saying, I think they're still just the same Browns that we play every year. The Browns is the Browns. Now, come on, Juju Smith-Schuster. This is a lack of disrespect. And I think that the Browns don't need motivation. This is a different kind of Cleveland team. But on national television, with your coach out of the lineup, with a bunch of your players gone, how about you show Juju and everyone else that this Cleveland team is a little bit different this time around, fellas?
Also, the Browns are the Browns, not the Browns is the Browns. Listen, I'm with you, Mark. If I'm a Cleveland fan, which I'm not, and you are very much so, there is a tiny bit of me that would be like, ooh, I kind of like what's happening going into this game because not
I'm with you,
Yeah,
and I think
I
go ahead, Greg.
I just look at this Browns team and I think like you've still got what made you special. Joel Bitonio is not there, but you got the offensive line. I think the Steelers are confident and they're honking a little bit because their backups and Mason Rudolph performed pretty well, almost pulled off a win a week ago, but it doesn't matter. Like the Steelers have not shown us for 6 weeks. That's a pretty long sample size that they're going to blow out anyone. Okay, they had one nice half where Ben Roethlisberger's making up this story that he's drawing plays in the dirt. Well, all the other plays they've been calling for about 6 weeks haven't been working. So can they take advantage, Mark, of a pretty lackluster Browns defense? Maybe, but they're not going to put up 40 points.
Did you say he was making up stories? It's funny, Big Ben never gets the benefit of the doubt from Rosenthal, but if Lamar said it, it'd be like, oh my goodness, what a genius. On the fly.
Well,
oh no, Greg.
It's just typical. It's like the one good half they played. Oh, by the way, Ben wants everyone to know that it wasn't the coaches. It was all me. It was Big Ben.
You're sick.
Unbelievable, Greg.
Come on, Mark. Where are you at in terms of fear level entering this game? Low,
well,
right?
I think to your point, though, like fear does not really play into it because the deck is stacked against Cleveland. I mean, at least from an angle of, I think a week ago, they had no way to come out as winners in that game. They beat Pittsburgh, but it's like, but it was Mason Rudolph. It's not. It's the Steelers B team. No credit to Cleveland. This time around, I think it's more the pressure starts to mount a little bit for Pittsburgh. You're playing a team that you've beaten up on for 20 years with no head coach on the sideline. I mean, you've got fill-ins all over the place. I think Bitonio doesn't matter. I mean, the defense, though, is my lingering concern for Cleveland. I mean, Pittsburgh took advantage of it last week. What's to say they can't do the same this time around, especially if Denzel Ward isn't in the lineup?
I don't know where the play calling came from, whether it was drawn up in the dirt or it was coming from the sideline. But what we saw in Week 16 with Big Ben in the second half against the Titans, what we saw with Mason Rudolph in Week 17 and a very narrow loss for Pittsburgh with a bunch of their reserves playing, their ability to go deep and shoot the ball downfield changes things a lot for Pittsburgh's offense in a good way, and it will cause Cleveland issues because they can't just sit underneath like all these teams were doing during the Pittsburgh losing streak where they look so lost. I would think you're going to see this same thing here.
Right. If Denzel Ward is not out there and he's trying to match up, you're trying to match up anyone on Cleveland, it's a mismatch. But even if you have Ward, over with Claypool, it's got to be mismatches elsewhere. It's got to be the Browns outscoring opponents. Their game against Baltimore gives me confidence. A pretty similar matchup in terms of the defense and the attacking. Their offensive line, I think, on the edges can hold up. I think Cleveland can put up points. Baker's just not hold the ball too long. He did that a few times. If he's decisive, if Baker's making quick decisions, I think the Brownies got a good chance.
All right.
Yeah, Baker walked
started.
into a couple sacks last week, so you're right about that, Greg.
We're just getting started. We'll be right back after this. But coming up, yes, Bills, Colts. What a showdown to come. We'll talk about it after the break. Welcome back to the Around the NFL broadcast presented by Truist. Boys, big time matchup, and I'm loving this one. Bills Colts, a showdown between a Josh Allen-led Bills team that has been unstoppable down the stretch, and a Colts team that, oh, by the way, not a lot of heat around the Colts right now, but this is an 11-win team. This is a balanced team. Mark, I'll start with you on this one. We all know that the Bills are flying high, but should we be giving a little bit more love to the Colts as we approach this game?
Well, I think the reason they're not getting a lot of love is the matchup. The Bills have rounded into an AFC superpower, basically. I mean, the Colts, to me, are a balanced team. We know what they can do on defense. They get just enough offense. Jonathan Taylor, I think, has obviously changed the complexion of their attack. And my concern a little bit on the flip side is Buffalo is giving up the fifth fewest points in the league right now. It's their defense that's improved so much to complement their high-octane attacks. So I'd be concerned if the Colts can keep up in this game, because I just would look at Buffalo and say, yeah, they're going to score 35 to 40 points. What will Indy do to counter that?
Yeah, we have this idea that the playoffs are so different and Josh Allen has to prove himself, after a really rough first playoff appearance. And I guess that's true, but I just would be so surprised if Josh Allen does not help the Bills score over 30 points this week, because that's what they do. They are the Chiefs. You can get a few stops on them. I mean, you can get 3 straight stops and an interception like the Dolphins did a week ago, and the Bills still might be resting Allen at halftime. They're not going to do that in a playoff game, but they can put up 3 or 4 straight touchdowns. Like, they will get you eventually. I've never seen a player improve as much as Josh Allen has from one year to the next. He has played so well. Like, people like me who were, dogging him, I mean, we should lose our jobs, frankly. GMs lose jobs for being wrong on quarterbacks this bad. Like, I would not be surprised if they just call me into an office, they show me some of the clips of what I said about Josh Allen, and they replace me for next week.
I mean, that would be very sad, and I feel like that'd be a pretty big news story. I think it's fair to bring up what happened last January in that meltdown against the Texans, but at the same time, what you're saying is absolutely right. There's no way to take what you saw last January and compare it to this season from Josh Allen and think he's anything else than a totally different quarterback and an MVP level quarterback. The guy's a superstar now.
I mean, last year's Josh Allen didn't have Stephon Diggs. Coming into Buffalo, a move that we thought this could go totally haywire. It's been pristine. It's been perfect. He's been an absolute phenomenon for Josh Allen and changed Josh Allen's career. And I think that the relationship between Allen and Brian Daboll has only grown, and they've added new wrinkles to this offense. I look at last year's clip. I mean, I get that things like that can track from year to year, but I see literally no relationship between this version of Josh Allen and where we were last January. I think the whole AFC should be on alert because of how different he is.
The Colts defense will make you earn it, though. I think that's the one thing. I'm hoping for a close game. You guys know I love Phillip Rivers. I read this article about all his teammates are like pulling for him this weekend, thinking there's still a Super Bowl chance.
You're the ninth Rivers child.
I would be the 10th. I mean, who knows? Maybe one is coming. You can name it after me. Triple G's. You got to have it all there. I think they could put up some points against Buffalo. They can move the ball. They need to shorten the game. I usually hate that strategy. It's just kind of saying that you're as good as the other team. That's fine. You're not as good as the Bills. And their defense, if nothing else, prevents big plays and they force some turnovers. It's a little like the Chargers defense, but better. And the Chargers defense, for what it's worth, is the last defense to make Josh Allen look mortal. They really took away the deep pass. I mean, just stop them from throwing the ball 40 yards down the field, and at least maybe you got a chance against this team.
Greg, I don't think that Phillip Rivers is going to name a child after you if you're subsequently being fired for an ill take on Josh Allen. It feels like you would fade into the distance there to some degree.
I mean, you could think that, but he could go and look at the work and the support. I mean, I'm going to be stumping for him for the Hall of Fame. I think he should be a fan. Maybe he'll come join us at NFL Network.
It's a redemption
if this
arc.
Turns out to be his last game.
Yeah, it's a redemption arc to bring Greg into the family. You have long been an anti-Eli Manning guy, Greg, a pro-Phillip Rivers guy. but I would say, I guess he's a Hall of Famer, but I would like maybe one deep, memorable run into the playoffs. And you might cite the torn ACL game, which was like 1,000 years ago. Maybe one more big run from Phillip Rivers, and beating the Bills would be an incredible kickstart toward that goal. Because let's look at it from this way, because everyone's picking the Bills to win, including all of us. Let's be honest. If the Colts ever got out of this game, why should we pick against them at all at that point? And Jonathan Taylor is a major reason why. We talked about it all year long, that you can't put too much on Phillip Rivers' plate at this stage. And without a running game, they looked highly vulnerable. But what's happening here with Taylor, he performed like a rookie Adrian Peterson in Week 17. He's averaging like 141 yards rushing over the last 6 weeks or so. He changes the dynamic of that entire offense. How about a big Jonathan Taylor game here? How about a big T.Y. Hilton game, and Phillip Rivers puts another pelt on the wall, a big one for his Hall of Fame candidacy?
Ooh, I like it. Here's the reason why we wouldn't expect them to win next week, because they'd be playing the Chiefs. I mean, imagine that role. They'd have to go through Buffalo and then
Bills,
Kansas City.
Who knows?
You're right. And their offensive line, I think, hasn't been good in short yardage. They're a little better pass protecting than run blocking, but Taylor makes yards on his own. I mean, I think he's one of the 6 best running backs in the league right now. The stats would say he's one of the 2 best running backs. Only Derrick Henry's had more than him since Week 11.
I mean, I see a Colts team that also was beaten up by the Ravens and thumped by Tennessee the second time around. So you can get physical with this team. And I know Buffalo's not coming at you with the run game necessarily, but they're just so dangerous. I understand what we're trying to do. We're trying to cook up a scenario where this matchup is more even than it is, but I think it is what it is.
You've been a Bills guy all year.
I've been watching their games, and so I'm basing it off of what I'm seeing. Like this is a titanic power in formation here.
I agree with you on that, but the Colts are not the Bears either. I think that's what's been lost a little bit. This team, I think, has the ability, if things fall into place, and there are people going to be in the stadium in Orchard Park watching the Bills as AFC's champions. That's going to be a lot of fun. All right, let's keep rolling on. A lot more to get to here on Wild Card Weekend. The Ravens and the Titans. And oh my gosh, that is going to be an absolute ball with a lot of points galore. And yes, I mentioned those Bears. They have a tough matchup in the Superdome against the Saints. Do they have any chance at all? Any?
Sure.
Last year playoff game, they came in and took what we wanted. You feel me? Play your position, play your part. Feel me? Let's go get it. That's right. Whoop their ass on 3. 1, 2, 3. Whoop their ass.
Titan players came out after they were running out of the tunnel, and they stood on the Ravens shield logo at midfield. The next thing you knew, Ravens coaches had gone out there, and it got a little heated.
I have never seen a scene like that. There's some bad blood between these two teams.
Disrespectful, coach. Disrespectful, tell him the coaching game. Hey, come on. Hey, just stand right there, you're over there. Disrespectful. Go home. It's disrespectful.
Time now for Who's Better, presented by Truist. I'm telling you, we've met these coaches. You see how it all plays out during the season. It's kind of like high school. And the referees in that situation, no one's actually throwing punches. It's just fun to watch, and you hope to see it again because you like that drama. Titans, Ravens, I said it at the top of the show. It's the wild card matchup I'm most excited about because it's going to be a shootout, and shootouts are fun. Greg, the Ravens are a team that you admire, you love. You like their chances here? Are they better?
I don't know. Not the last 2 times they've played, so I think this is a tough matchup for them. I'm picking them, and I'm rooting for them. It's okay. We all root. I just admit it because of Lamar Jackson. But it's not a great matchup when you think about even that exchange between the coaches. I know this is silly, but the Titans are kind of that team that look great coming off the bus. They're a big physical team. I don't think Ryan Tannehill is intimidated by what the Ravens do defensively in their blitzes. I don't think Mike Vrabel is intimidated at all by John Harbaugh. When the next guy is yelling, "That's disrespectful," to end the argument, you won that argument. I don't think even the Titans defense is that afraid necessarily of the Ravens passing attack. They've done some things with 6 defensive backs on the field the last couple of times that have been pretty effective, and they came from behind. They're not even afraid of being behind. So I am afraid of this matchup. I know you'll be rooting for the Titans, Mark, because you've just got that anti-Ravens blood in you. It just runs deep.
Well, I think it says a lot that I actually enjoy watching the Ravens. I mean, this version of what they do in a world where everyone's just throwing the ball left and right. This is a team that's running for nearly 300 yards a game. Last week, they rushed 4 different people in the first drive against Cincinnati. And I know that's the Bengals, but they've been doing this week after week where they're compiling like 250 yards to like 60 or 70 by halftime. They're dominating out of the stretch, and they're healthy this year. They were not last year when they went in and lost to the Titans. I think this is a different team. The Titans, though, you're right, Greg. They have found a way to get under their skin. Lamar Jackson spent the earlier part of this year talking about teams had watched what Tennessee did, copied it, and snuffed out the Ravens. But the Ravens are reborn, and I think it really changed during that Browns game. They've become totally explosive. This is a true revenge game. A lot of that stuff gets thrown around. I don't buy a word of it. This game has elements of revenge and strains of dislike between these two teams, Dan.
Elements of revenge, strains of dislike. Yeah, the way things worked out with Lamar, because his first time in the playoffs, played poorly. Last year in the playoffs, they 14-2, best team in football, knocked off in the divisional round. And usually the way these things go, that would be all anybody is talking about. Lamar Jackson 0-2 in the playoffs, and now he's getting a third crack and another bite at the apple against the Titans in a big spot. But just the way the season played out, when they were 6-5 and Lamar had COVID and things just, their backs were against the wall, the way they closed this season, not only did it close the season and get them into the playoffs, it kind of changed the story around them. They're not as much the heavy favorite that is expected, Super Bowl or bust. It puts them back in a little bit more of an underdog role. And I think that's exactly where they want to be right now. I think Lamar's going to play free and loose in this game. I don't think he's going to be tight. I think he's going to score a lot of points. But then you got to remember, Ryan Tannehill, 40 touchdowns. Derrick Henry, 2,000 yards. Corey Davis and A.J. Brown, over 2,000 yards between them. They're going to score points too. Is anyone going to get a stop? 40-37. It's got it all written all over it in OT. That's my call.
I'm with you because I'm not sure the Ravens defense is that good. They face the 26th easiest schedule of opposing offenses, according to Football Outsiders. We saw what they did against the last good offense they faced, Cleveland. But this segment's called Who's Better? You know who's better between Justin Tucker and Steven Gostkowski? You know, I love you, Ghost, because you helped out the Patriots in a couple Super Bowls. But my God, what a mismatch between the special teams. Maybe that's the difference in a high-scoring game.
Maybe. That was Who's Better, presented by Truist. And by the way, I got the Ravens in the game. I guess we all do. How about that? All right, let's move on. Bears Saints. Now, this game is not getting as much heat, and with good reason. The Bears are in the playoffs. How did that happen? Well, it did. They got hot, and then they got some help from the Cardinals in Week 17. So here they are. They go to the Superdome. Mark, last time the Saints were a heavy favorite in their building in the playoffs, they went down against the Vikings. Tell me why that's not going to happen again this time.
I think this team is the picture of resilience. They've been through so much, and a lot of teams would fade after the 3 really rugged playoff losses that they suffered. You have Drew Brees back. You've got Alvin Kamara back. You've got Michael Thomas. These guys have not been on the field for more than mere quarters all season long. Finally, it will be happening. And I'll tell you something. I think the Saints were built for this. And let's talk about the opponent. I mean, yes, the Bears offense has peaked down the stretch. I look at the opponents they played. I'm not saying it's a total mirage. I think their offensive line has been better. David Montgomery's lit it up as a running back. I know, Greg, that you and I are not so sold on the Mitch Trubisky. This is the new version of Mitch Trubisky. We're going to extend him for 5 more years and travel into those nice waters.
Wait, why am I being left out of that? I'm not pro Trubisky.
Well, I'm not trying to mark you that way. That's not fair. You're right. I should have thrown you in there. Dan and Greg agree with me on the Trubisky front, apparently.
I hope his family's not watching or anything. I mean, it's nothing personal here, but
they know.
He's thrown up a lot of passes that could have been intercepted. I don't think he's playing any better, and I think the Saints defense is going to pressure him. I know they're showing this game on Nickelodeon. Like, the little kids can learn like what great line play is all about, like dominant offensive linemen on the Saints. Teron Armstead, maybe the best in the league, and dominant pass rush. It might not be that fun to watch. I'm not that sure Drew Brees is playing that well right now. Saints fans don't want to hear it. Man, they get angry if you mention that he got a little lucky the last couple of weeks. But I don't think this is the defense right now, because they're banged up without Roquan Smith and other injuries that's really going to make Drew Brees pay. He might not even have to have a good game for them to win by a lot.
Did you guys know that the green slime that Nickelodeon uses is vanilla pudding, I believe, and food coloring?
No.
Well, I did not.
No.
Somehow I've gotten this far in life without knowing that.
I don't know how you did it. Alvin Kamara, we should talk about Alvin Kamara, who missed Week 17 on the COVID-19 list. He is very confident, it appears, based on his social media, that he will be playing, and he's been taking part in practices. He took part in practices all week virtually and via some type of video setup. Very futuristic. Kamara, even without him, I think they're okay. This feels to me, and listen, you can get on the Saints for not getting anything done in the last few playoff runs. I think a lot of that's been bad luck, and I think the luck is about to change for the Saints. I really think this is a team making a deep playoff run, and this is just the start. They didn't get the bye, even though they're the number 2 seed. Bad timing there, but the Bears are as close as it gets, and no disrespect. Actually, I'm going to put some disrespect on the Bears here. I just don't think they're going to stand a chance. That's it. That's how I feel. Make me look bad.
Makes sense. I mean, they're 8-8. The only reason they're in the playoffs is because they added a 7th team. I remember Mark honking about this a year ago at this time. There are these 7 teams. Like, do we really need to see another week of them? And that's kind of the Bears right now. Prove us wrong. You took the Saints to overtime in the regular season. You never know. Maybe Drew Brees starts holding the ball a little too tight if they fall behind early.
I'd say 17 weeks of the Bears is 1 week too many, but we will find out how they fare.
We are just getting going here. A lot more playoff talk to come. Coming up next, the Rams and the Seahawks division rivals face off in the playoffs. Steve Weiss joins us to talk about this matchup.
This is going to be a heck of a game. It's a championship game. There's a lot at stake here in Week 16.
Goff rolling right. Now he throws back inside, and it's intercepted down at the 10-yard line. Russell on the move, left side, pulls it down. He's going to run. He's going to get it in. Touchdown, Seahawks. Goff on the quarterback keeper. He's hit. He's stood up. It's going to be 4th down. Turns hands to Brown. He gets hit. He doesn't get in. The defense stops him again. Russ with the shotgun snap looks out. Lays it up over the top. Hollister. He's got it. Touchdown, Seahawks!
This is a great Seahawks day. The goal line stand is a famous one I'll never forget. But this defense is good.
I don't want to be too happy because I don't want people to say, he's dramatic. He hasn't been there before. You damn right I haven't been there before. So, damn it, it feels good. It feels great.
Gotta love the Cosby sweater. Jamal Adams is sporting there. Welcome back to the Around the NFL broadcast. And now joining us to talk Seahawks Rams is the great Steve Weish. How you doing, Steve? The compass of NFL media, I call him.
Yeah, if that's the barometer, guys, we're in trouble. But I'm doing well.
All right. Nobody knows the Rams better than Steve. He's always been close in his coverage of that team. He does a great job. So we want to talk this big division matchup, now a wild card playoff matchup. And I want to start with Jared Goff because, Steve, that's where everyone is trying to figure out where Goff fits in. He's practicing this week after the thumb surgery cost him Week 17. Sean McVay indicating if things are going well as we head toward the weekend. So assuming he does play, Steve, let's start here. How important is this game toward Goff's long-term future? Because it's been a rough couple of years, and especially this season, it feels like maybe confidence in the Goff era has been shaken.
Yeah, look, if you're basing his future off this game where he's playing with a surgically repaired thumb, then that's really a lack of confidence. I think I do have the feeling he's going to play in this game because the situation, typically it's a playoff game, and if you're going to go with someone, you want to go with someone who's been here before unless he's completely compromised. And like you just talked about, the reports of him this week in practices, he's looked pretty good. He's gone through a lot of things. But you're right. I mean, Jared Goff has not played great this season. I don't know how much their confidence is shaken in him, and I don't know if they're talking about getting rid of him. I don't think that'd be the plan, but I would not be surprised, as much as they like John Wolford, if they brought in a veteran backup quarterback who could push Goff a little bit in the offseason, because there's going to be a ton of quarterback movement in free agency and in trades this offseason, and I would not be surprised if the Rams brought somebody in right before training camp possibly, or if there are OTAs, to push Goff a little bit, because he has got to up the ante. Because you talk to people around the league, he's not the toughest quarterback to defensively scheme for.
Right. I mean, I can think of that first matchup against the Seahawks. He made some good throws. The last time in Week 16, it was almost like Seattle was asking them, daring Jared Goff to make a play outside the pocket, and he couldn't do so. And I remember more than anything, Sean McVay coming off the field told Aaron Andrews, Goff needs to see the field better in the second half. He got a lot of attention a few weeks back when McVay got on Goff for throwing those interceptions. But to me, that was one of the most telling things I heard all season. McVay I wonder if he's thinking, look, we're not getting any second reaction plays. We're not getting any big plays out of Goff. To me, that was a telling sign, Steve, that maybe he's not as confident calling plays for Jared Goff right now as he used to. And he's playing against a Seahawks defense that's played a lot better over the last month.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a great point, because, look, they're not taking the downfield shots. They're not doing certain things that they used to do. They're playing a lot. Now, part of it because the offensive line, even though it's played better, they're playing a lot more 2 and 3 tight end personnel type sets for protection purposes. Andrew Whitworth has been out. He is supposed to play and start at left tackle against the Seahawks this weekend. But it does seem like they've tried to scale things back. And part of it are the giveaways. And I'm not just talking about the interceptions that Goff has thrown. He has coughed it up fumble-wise, too. And this is something that Jared Goff has not historically done. So, again, maybe there is a little bit of shattered confidence. Maybe there's a little bit of pressing right there. But also, we know Sean McVay can scheme people open. We saw that with John Wolford last week. He was scheming people open. So Jared Goff has got to see the field better, because like I just said, I talked to defensive coordinators from around the league. They know the spots where they can get to Goff. If they can slow the Rams down and get them behind the sticks, to use that vernacular, on first and second down, which means to slow down that run, Goff is not a very difficult quarterback to defend on third down.
You know, Steve, I know that Seattle's turnaround on defense has been one of the more startling, I think, events of the back half of the season after what we saw early on. But the Rams' defense is, to me, in an offense-first league, a special unit. We've seen it week after week. They're going to have to figure out how to slow down Russell Wilson. You know Brandon Staley, you've been around this coaching staff. I think a lot of people a year ago had no idea who this guy was. Now he's getting his name's coming up in head coaching vacancies, star rising. What makes Brandon Staley special as a defensive coordinator?
Well, first off, I can tell you this, speaking to people around the league, he's a hot candidate. I mean, people love what he's done, and they understand, and this is what's worked with the Rams as well, his teaching, his ability to teach, his ability to communicate. He's got a little bit of that Sean McVay in him, where he relates to people. This is why we're doing this, and he's got everybody to buy in. Look, Jalen Ramsey, he's playing a lot of slot stuff. He's playing some safety stuff, and he's actually playing it with some outside linebacker principles. What superstar player is willing to compromise and do those things a lot of the times? And so look at some of these players. I mean, we came into the season, okay, we were like, okay, they've got Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. But Leonard Floyd has had an unbelievable season. Michael Brockers has been good again. They've got a lot of players, John Johnson, who we didn't know about, who are absolutely balling. You know, Brandon Staley is absolutely fantastic. He probably will be a head coach, but he also has some fantastic guys on his staff, one being cornerbacks coach Aubrey Pleasant. Should Staley leave, I would expect Pleasant to be elevated to defensive coordinator.
And Steve, on the Seattle side of things, their offense, when the defense was historically bad in the first half of the year, the offense was going off, and Russell Wilson was an MVP favorite early on. Is there any way, because I see when I look at the Super Bowl contenders, the only way I think Seattle gets to the final game is if that offense wakes up and becomes a juggernaut again. Any way that happens after not happening the last 2 months or so?
I'm not counting anything out when it comes to Seattle Seahawks. Just look at how they've always done things. Even when they had the Legion of Boom, they would start out a little shaky for 6 games on both sides of the ball and find their way and then get their identity and get rolling. If they can get Chris Carson in this run game rolling to set up a little run action, passing game, that can open things up. And the way this defense is playing, and I know we like to talk about Jamal Adams, but what they are doing up front now, that's where they've really found themselves. I mean, KJ Wright jumps off the page. Bobby Wagner, future Hall of Famer, he has been absolutely fantastic. And then the rookie outside linebacker, that's the guy who's jumped out. Think about the last time they played the Rams in Week 16. Rams, they get stoned on 4 goal line plays. The rookie linebacker, I'm blanking on his name right now, had 3 of the 4 tackles.
Jordan Brooks, come on, give the man some respect. Jordan
Sorry
Brooks.
about that.
Oh, yeah.
Jordan Brooks, the rookie. Yeah, 3 of the 4 tackles on that goal line stand.
Do you know how much Steve Weiss has going on in his brain?
I'm old.
It's a lot.
These things happen.
It's a big brain, but
things happen.
He's old.
These things do happen. But no,
Steve,
they're steadily up front. That's what's going to happen.
So much good information there on the game, and we look forward to talking to you again down the line. Have a great one. All right, coming up next, we continue to spin through the wild card playoff picture. Tom Brady squares off against that Washington defense. Oh my goodness, Brady's going for his 7th ring. Can he get it done? Got to get out of the wild card round first.
A small number of votes, 2 or
We finally get a chance to catch up with the Buckeye here, Chase Young. Who is the quarterback that you're looking forward to sacking the most?
I mean, I want to sack Tom Brady.
Mullins, pocket collapse. Chase Young, ball is out. A fumble picked up by Chase Young. 10-5, touchdown Washington.
He has a sack, a forced fumble, and now a touchdown.
We know what's going on out here.
Sudfeld.
And he fumbled the football.
Holding that ball like sweetness, y'all.
Washington football team is back in the playoffs.
You know, it's one of those games where you better watch what you wish for.
Tom Brady? You think I'm not going to be excited to play against the GOAT? I'm not going to apologize for saying I want Tom, no.
Went to Ohio State, so naturally I think the Ohio State-Michigan thing wears off on him a little bit. I understand that.
Tom Brady, I'm coming. I want Tom.
Time now for Be Prepared, presented by Castrol Edge. Yes, you heard it. Chase Young, way back at Combine, our good friend, Colleen Wolfe, he said he wants Tom Brady. He's going to get his chance now. And in the wild card weekend, we want to be prepared to see Tom Brady mad. Mad Tom, upset Tom. There's always one upset in wild card weekend that no one sees coming. I'm picking Washington. I think they can knock off the Bucs, and I think it's because Tom Brady is not a man at 43 years old that is very good at handling relentless pressure coming his way. And I think because of that pressure, you're going to see that Bucs offense, which has been so great throughout December, really come down to earth in a big spot. And yes, would it be stunning to see Brady go one and done in the playoffs? Yes, but would you really be shocked? Can you really be shocked, boys, if that Washington pass rush, led by Chase Young, and Montez Sweat, can go and get Brady and mess up that game?
I know Tom Brady hurt you, Dan, over the years, but this is too much. Yes, I would be shocked. This Washington team's not great. Come on.
The team's not great, but the defensive line is, and that's so important in this battle. Come on now.
Yeah, Brady's not used to like 20-somethings coming at him like this, so I think Chase Young's got a little bit of a different aura to him. I like it.
Mark, what should
both of you guys beat on Washington is crazy to me. I don't get it.
All right, Mark, what should people be prepared for this weekend?
I would be prepared for Antonio Brown to emerge as the biggest X factor in the NFC playoffs. I mean, we've seen this over the last couple of weeks. Byron Leftwich said, look, we knew it would take some time for him to get warmed up. He had 93 yards a couple weeks ago. He had 130 plus in week 17. He is becoming an integral part of their offense. We don't know what we'll get from Mike Evans this week. So I really look at this, and there is this chemistry between Brady and Antonio Brown that's sort of always been there. And this is Brady's will to have him be a part of this offense. So I'd be very concerned about what he could do this week and weeks going forward.
You know, it's a Mark graphic on NFL Network when it says waterfall of yards and points. I don't think that's ever been on the network before.
Well, I think it's accurate.
How about you, Greg? What should we be prepared for?
I'm prepared for Tom Brady to have time, actually. I think the Bucs offensive line and Tristan Wirfs, their rookie right tackle, who I thought was snubbed from the All-Pro team, is going to play great in this game. He's going to be matched up against Montez Sweat a lot of the time. Sometimes it'll be Chase Young. This Bucs offensive line, which could have had an All-Pro and Ryan Jensen, their center, they're great. And Tom Brady is absolutely a different quarterback when he's protected, especially right now in his career. You mentioned it, Dan, but I think the Bucs are set up well to actually mitigate what Washington does best. And then Tommy Terrific can find Antonio Brown. He can find Chris Godwin, who had a great week 17 too. And we'll see if Mike Evans is back. He'll have some receivers open, maybe not as open as the last few weeks, but open enough.
Greg, you gotta listen. You've been following the sport a long time. You can't always go chalk. There's got to be a game out there that's going to surprise us. So it's not me like
I'm
hating
taking the
Tom
Rams.
Brady. It's just like, okay. What about Washington, the 7-9 team? That would be shocking. Come on. Get on board.
I think you just want me to lose my lock from our podcast
that would
the
be
other
nice.
day. I'm taking the Bucs.
That would be fine.
Nice, yeah.
That was Be Prepared, presented by Castrol Edge. We'll be right back after this, and it is time. This is when, really it's all on the line, where we tease out our Super Bowl picks and we decide who is the smartest of the group right after this.
Get your Super Wild Card weekend started Saturday at 9 a.m. with NFL Game Day Morning.
All day, just like that.
Tom Brady begins his quest for a 7th ring against a 7-win Washington team. History tells us Tampa could be in trouble. We'll explain. And with Buffalo hosting a playoff game for the first time since Jim Kelly was the quarterback, who better to articulate the mindset of the Bills Mafia?
We lift our team and our city.
Then on Sunday, Michael Irvin sits down with Lamar Jackson to find out how he's handling the pressure of chasing his first playoff win.
Just being myself, being focused, don't overthink anything, don't go out there trying to do too much.
And 2020 was a tale of two Steelers teams, so which one shows up on Sunday? Kurt Warner explains why last week's game may provide the answer. All that and much more on NFL Game Day Morning Saturday and Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern.
All right, welcome back. For posterity's sake, let's make our Super Bowl picks. Lock us in. Mark, I know you had Dolphins Cardinals at the season's midpoint. I assume you're moving off that pick.
I am moving off that, and I don't know why the two of you need to file an answer, because here is the answer. It's going to be Buffalo versus the Packers.
Ooh.
And I just think that this matchup would show how much things change over the course of a year. A year ago, we were talking about that Josh Allen meltdown in the playoffs. What a credit to Sean McDermott, to Brandon Beane, to Brian Daboll, and to Josh Allen himself and that entire team. You know, 2 months ago, we thought they're a contender in the AFC. I think now they are the team to beat. And I know the Chiefs sit out there, and I'm not trying to disrespect Kansas City, but I think Buffalo is going to go in and they're going to beat the Packers in a Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers showdown for the ages, my friends.
I like that.
Wow.
How about you, Greg?
I am sticking with my preseason pick. I feel like, if you're a man of integrity, you have to.
Yes.
And that's the Colts somehow getting it done. The Colts over the Saints in the Super Bowl. It's the revenge for the Tracy Porter interception. Now, I didn't really pick the Colts this week, so it doesn't totally make sense, but it's the matchup I want to see. Man, Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees, like in each of their last game, like loser retires, winner retires. I don't care. It would be a lot of fun.
It's a little bit of a quagmire for you, Greg, because it says right there, Super Bowl 55 prediction, not what you want. Yeah, I think you got to get on the same page.
It's my prediction. I'm sticking with it. It was back in August, and it can still happen.
But I'm also with you, Greg. Integrity is important, so I am also sticking with my August prediction. And that is the Chiefs going back-to-back over the Saints. I think the Saints are going to have a great playoff run. They're going to get some of these demons out and get all the way to the big game. And we're going to talk it up as Drew Brees going out on top. And then what's going to happen? Patrick Mahomes is going to reassert himself as the greatest football player on the planet. The day after Aaron Rodgers is hoisting the MVP, it will be Patrick Mahomes hoisting the Super Bowl MVP trophy for the second consecutive year. How's that?
Look I like this.
Mark's been saying this is inevitable all year, that we can just fast forward and it just feels like it's a Chiefs coronation party. They're a fun one to watch, though, at least.
I am miffed by this integrity talk. I would stick with my preseason pick, but it was Ravens over Cowboys. How does that fit into the show?
This is the Around the NFL broadcast presented by Truist. Thanks for watching, and check out our podcast on Sunday night.